So thank you so much, everyone, for coming to the session of Café con Leche. So I'm going to start per usual. My name is Melissa Ferrer. I'm the development manager at RCF, and I'm just going to jump right in with a little story. So I grew up in a coupon clipping home with all of our furniture mostly from Goodwill, a combination of Goodwill and Craigslist. And my mom really, she loved it. She honestly, I would say she really had a talent for it. But my dad would sometimes, I remember him being in like grocery lines when my mom was looking for a coupon, kind of like holding up the line. He would be like, come on, we have a Volvo, okay? We don't need a 45-cent coupon. And my mom would just very calmly be like, we have a Volvo because of all the 45-cent coupons. So I really grew up in a home that was like worked very hard at saving money as well as learning real world finances. My family's coming from, my mom was born and raised here, and her parents are from Peru and my father's from Peru. So we have a different immigrant mentality. It's very different. There's things like credit that doesn't even exist in some places. So, learning how to file taxes, how to buy a home, how to buy a car, how just what real world finances look like and building wealth and how to do that. It's incredible. So SparkPoint Contra Costa teaches real life financial success by serving the holistic person and personalizing goals to them. So RCF is very excited to partner with SparkPoint Contra Costa. And now I'm actually going to do it a little differently and pass it over to Mojda Medizadeh.
Thank you so much, Melissa. So again, my name is Mojda Medizadeh. I have the pleasure of serving on the RCF Connects board. And I am also the Executive Vice Chancellor for Educational Services with the Contra Costa Community College District. So I have the pleasure of serving for an educational institution. And what I'd like to do is to connect our work with SparkPoint to education. And I'll start with a brief story about myself. So I too am from an immigrant family. I came to the United States at the age of 8. I spoke very little English, and by very little, I mean probably 10 words. And my parents spoke less than that. And I'll start by sharing my first experience in a U.S. bank, or actually, I should say in a bank of any kind. I was the interpreter for my parents when we arrived in Ogden, Utah, of all places, from Tehran, Iran to Ogden, Utah. And as an 8-year-old, I remember sitting in a bank trying to figure out essentially what it means in my very broken English to help my parents open an account. And I remember the most exciting thing about that was that we left the bank with a toaster. A toaster. Those were the days. They actually gave you gifts for opening an account. And then I remember myself as a 9-year-old, where I had saved at that point $6.50. I saved that $6.50 by working the neighborhood. And what I mean by that was I was earning 50 cents an hour for pulling weeds, washing cars, and it was awesome. I loved it. I'd knock on doors. Folks would welcome me. $6.50. I opened my first account. I remember the little white book that they gave me when I first opened that account. And I say that to say, as challenging as it was, being an immigrant and kind of working our way through it, I came from a family that understood and instilled in me the notion of saving and recognition of how you do that, going to a bank, opening up an account, and again, while there were challenges, I was really privileged. And many members in our current society, be they immigrants or folks that have been born right here in this country and have families that have been here for hundreds of years, do not have the opportunities that I was afforded. And I had an opportunity to connect with SparkPoint at Contra Costa College. And I saw firsthand what SparkPoint does in changing the lives and educational trajectory of our students who are here for an education at the community college level, but we're not teaching them how to open a bank account, right? We're not teaching them how to save money. The education that they get through SparkPoint is really the underlying focused need that they need to propel in their lives. And I am just so grateful to be connected with SparkPoint. So thank you very much for spending the next hour or so with us. I am going to turn it over to Kelly, who is going to facilitate the rest of our session.
Thank you, Mojda, and thank you. Oh, am I on mute? No, I'm not. Thank you, Mojda, and thank you, Melissa, and thank you, everyone, for being here. It's so exciting for me to continue each month learning more and more about RCF and RCF's partners and the impact that RCF is having in the community. And each time we do Café con Leche, we're learning more and more about the power of the impact. And so that's what today is about, is learning more about the power of impact, this time through SparkPoint. So before we start with questions, I wonder if maybe Betty, you'd be willing to sort of just facilitate an introduction of your folks on your team in the meeting today, so everyone knows who's in the room from SparkPoint and what their roles are. Would that be okay?
Certainly. So I'm Betty Geishert-Cantrell, and I am the Senior Director of SparkPoint Contra Costa. And I've been with us since the very beginning, 10 years ago. So in a couple of weeks, we'll be celebrating our 10-year anniversary, which is exciting for us all. So we have now grown to 4 sites. And so maybe if we start with one of our first sites, which was our Richmond site, we've got a couple of staff here from that site. So I'll let you guys introduce yourselves. Joanna? Regina?
Well, good afternoon. My name is Regina Keels. I am admin assistant to SparkPoint Contra Costa West. Welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Joanna Garcia, and I am the site manager here at the Richmond West office.
We have 3 folks here from our Bay Point office. Tiffany?
I'm Tiffany Berry. I'm the site manager at Contra Costa East. Welcome. Hello.
Nikki?
Hi, I'm Nikki Barlow. I'm also here at the Career Center helping with taxes.
Katrina?
Hello, everyone. My name is Katrina. I'm a new hired employee. I just started this Monday. I'm a temporary full-time. I'm the temporary full-time admin assistant for SparkPoint in Bay Point. So nice to meet you guys.
And then we've got 2 college sites. So Megan from Contra Costa College.
Yep. Hi, I'm Megan. I am the site manager for our office at Contra Costa College. Thank you guys all for being here.
And our newest site, which actually opened during the pandemic last November. Jerry?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Gerardo Mendoza, but people know me as Jerry, and I'm the office manager of SparkPoint Contra Costa at Diablo Valley College.
That's all of us.
Wow. Congratulations to all of you on 10 years. What an accomplishment. Betty, I'm going to go ahead and just stay with you and ask you to kind of open the conversation by walking us through a couple of questions here. So, who is a typical SparkPoint client? Is there one issue more than any other that SparkPoint clients are working with or struggling with? And if there are just a couple, you can share that. And then so far, especially with the challenges of COVID, what have been some of the strengths and ways that SparkPoint clients have sort of overcome during this time?
So our typical client is a single woman of color. She has a high school or some college education, and that some college may mean she's taken one class at a local community college. She has an annual income of $10,000 or less. I said annual income of $10,000 or less. As you can imagine, there are a lot of financial issues that she's coming to us with. And so our primary services that we're helping folks with are to build a budget, figure out how to save, figure out how to manage their debt. Also, build credit. That's a big one. You know, some folks think that credit is for rich people. Not them, but credit is an asset that all of us will need and will use at some point in our lives. We may have folks who want to buy a home. There are folks on this call that are wanting to buy homes or have bought homes. So there's a wide range of services. Find a job, find a better job. Throughout COVID, we've had to really pivot to providing remote services because all of our offices closed. Only our Bay Point office is currently open right now, and that's only to staff and not the public. So we've been pivoting to provide remote services, be that over Zoom or phone calls or FaceTime. But people are still having all of those same issues, and as we all know, just exasperated by the pandemic. We've had a lot less people since the pandemic who are looking for career services, and I don't know if that's because people are afraid to go out there and work, or that the jobs that they've had before are no longer existing, or if the new jobs that have arisen, like in tech, they're not qualified for. I'm really not sure, but we've been seeing a drop off in that. But what we have done in response to the pandemic is start to provide rental assistance and direct assistance. And so we have a lot of concerns. We have a lot of people requesting those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Betty. So managing debt, building credit, home ownership, job search, rental assistance. I'm going to ask a question now that I'd like to invite any one of you to answer, or multiple of those of you to answer if you have this reflection. So think back to a client who was dealing with a challenging financial issue or job search issue, and really go back into the moment when you were connecting with and noticing their stress, their uncertainty. Maybe they were having some fear. And try to remember what you knew about their situation, and then recall the same client once they had been able to learn new information, get help, put it into practice. And if you would be willing to tell us a little story about what you noticed before they got the help and the support, and then what shifted for them after they got the help and the support.
Thank you, Kelly. I'll take this question. Like I said, I'm Jerry. I'm the office manager at SparkPoint Contra Costa at Diablo Valley College. And we all know a reason, one or two, why we fall in this type of field of working as a profession, either because we want to make a difference in people's life, or it touches the heart or close to home. Although DVC has just recently opened during the pandemic, I've been with SparkPoint for a little over a year now. And I'm gonna talk about a recent client that we just had. His situation was similar to mine growing up, going to college and trying to transfer, or just trying to become, as recent Hispanic culture, the man of the house. This individual is actually I want to say my first or second client at DVC. He came to one of our orientations based on basic needs survey that he completed. This student, after speaking to me via the phone for about an hour, hour and a half, shared with me personal information of saying that he's in the process of being able to transfer, but still if he does want to transfer because of the situation he has at home. As I said, in Hispanic culture, the oldest child is always seen as the man of the house. He has a stepfather. The mother's in the process of getting divorced because of domestic violence. So him taking the role of the man of the house is in the process of, okay, let me help my mother get an apartment. What can I do to help her get an apartment, or what is needed or what is necessary for the process to be able to become successful? once that client shared with me, his voice was cracky. So a few tears came out. He apologized. Of course, I was no need to apologize. We all come from different backgrounds. We all face different challenges. And I shared with him my story. As the man of the house, as my mother always said me growing up, a mother and a father and a best friend to me and my brother growing up. I told him my story and we were able to connect, and I was able to help him with the proper resources. After the orientation, I was able to connect him with our credit and financial coaches, which then they were able to help him and educate him in the process of becoming not a first-time home buyers, but applying for rent for the first time to get an apartment. Through the process, he had no idea what his credit score was, how to save, how to budget. He just knew he did side jobs in the weekends with family members, when knocking door to door, seeing if he could cut people's grass just to make a living and be able to save some money for the mother. After he spoke with both our finance and credit coaches, he understood the process of, okay, my credit isn't exactly what it needs to be, but I'm gonna start working with the credit coaches. Now I know what my credit history is, what needs to be fixed, what could be paid off, and how I can improve my credit. He figured out what are the proper requirements to budget and finance. The idea of, okay, if I could save at least $5 if I cook at home, it's something that at the end of the month will add up on a weekly basis. So now he came with us with the idea of, okay, I could transfer, I want to transfer, but I can't because I'm afraid of leaving my mother alone, and my younger brother and sister as well. But now that he understands his finance and what is needed to become sustainable and become empowerment for himself and his family, he shared with me that now instead of being iffy, he's applying to college just to transfer to a UC or state because he understands the process of what it is to become financially stable and how to save. So instead of him just looking out for himself, he's looking out for his mother and his siblings at home as well. Like I said, he views himself like I viewed myself when I was in college. I had the opportunity to go out of state or just go out of the city, but I decided to stay local and I went to St. Mary's because there was only a 45-minute drive. And I told him my situation, and he felt comfortable after knowing, okay, so now that I know what is needed, what is required for me to, a few sacrifices here and there, because at the future, once I'm able to graduate from college, get my diploma and do all these accomplishments, and then when the family has been able to, I'll be able to help my mother as well. So once we spoke and we checked in, he's at the process of transfer to state in the UC, and a barrier is not having to worry about, okay, do I have to stay local? He could apply wherever he wants to go now and wherever he feels comfortable and could call it a home. And that's the story that I wanted to share with you guys. Like I said, there's so many successful stories, but that was the most recent one that touched my heart because it was close to home as well.
Thank you so much, Jerry, for sharing that and also for acknowledging how close your story is to that client's story. And I wonder if other folks also have a heart story like Jerry just shared.
Well, I'm a SparkPoint client. I started out that way. I've been with SparkPoint for 9 years. And when I came to SparkPoint, I was in a bad way. I was really depressed and sad because I had lost my job. I had moved to New York and I had to come back home. And it was a really tumultuous time for me in my life. And I needed a place to stay. I was living with family members. And I have the mindset of I'm 30 years old. I should have it together, right? I should have my money together. I should have my life together. And it clearly wasn't. And one of my fears was credit, you know, and that was holding me back from getting my own place, buying a car, and kind of establishing my life here in California again. And so I had did something, I think, with Rubicon, and they had referred me to. I did some taxes with Rubicon, and they referred me to SparkPoint to start looking into my credit and things like that. And like I said, I had so much anxiety, and I was just frustrated, and I just was, beat down by the whole process because I felt like I should have been in a better way, in a better place. And then too, I'm college educated. I know a little bit about money. Like, how could I be in this way? But when you don't have the knowledge and don't have the tools, I mean, it's easy for everybody to be, in that kind of situation, in that space. And so I met with this coach, and the first time I met with him, I broke down and cried. He ran my credit, and he said, "Hey, look, don't worry about what you see right now. This is just a jumping off point. You know, I'm here with you, and you have support. You have somebody that's going to walk through this process with you to build your credit up so you can get where you want to be financially. And that support, I never forget it, you know, because credit is really important because it basically is like a snapshot of your life, of your choices, your behaviors, and the places that you are in your life. And so when you look back and see, you know, all the traumas, oh, I had surgery, I had to, you know, let a bill go because I couldn't pay it, I had to have surgery, or I had to, you know, and all these things happened to me. And so it was very emotional. So for him to be very open and to be a support system for me, it just I believed in the process. I instantly believed in the program and the services. And I've been a client for 9 years. I started at 500 credit score. I'm middle 750. Okay. My credit is excellent. I got car that I want. I live where I want. I don't be held back by, you know, thoughts of I can't do this because my finances is a mess, you know. And I don't even think that way anymore. And so what I love about SparkPoint is that you have coaches that really care. They know what they're talking about, and they're willing to take the time to work with you as long as you work with them. And I was that person. I wanted help. And so I got it. And, you know, I'm in the position today to be a SparkPoint site manager. I'm here to help people in the same situation that I'm in or was in. And we just basically pulling people out of the mud, you know, as long as they, you know, got their hand out. We're there to pull and to just really uh, support them in any way necessary. And I think we just, SparkPoint is amazing. I love what they do. I've also worked with SparkPoint in other areas as well, creating a business plan, getting grant money to start my own business. So it's so many options for you with us. And so, you know, now you see the light at the end of the tunnel with us. Dark in the beginning and it's light at the end.
Wow, powerful, powerful story. Thank you for that testimony. So I want to ask this question. As Tiffany was talking, I was just jotting down some things. She said, you know, I should have known more. I should have been better. That was her thinking in the beginning. She won't forget the support of the coach. It was emotional, helped her to believe and shift her thinking. So I wondered if somebody would be willing to tell the story of one of your coaches and just lift up one of the coaches in your program and talk to us about who that person is and the impact that they're having on clients in the location that you are working in. And tell us their story and what it is that they're doing that's special and different.
Good afternoon. My name is Regina. We've also had past coaches that are good. All our coaches that have came through SparkPoint is fabulous. It's coming through CHDC, Community Housing Development. We had a young lady that's still associated with us. She's a fantastic coach, but she had an accident. She slipped and she fell, and life challenges began. She has family, children, and so it threw her life upside down, but she worked her way through it. She's back at work, and she's helping our clients with the homeowner part of our establishment. So that's one of the good stories about our coaches.
Thank you. Thanks, Regina. Estella, did you have a comment to share? Can you take yourself off mute?
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
was a client for SparkPoint too. That fixed my husband credit. And that teach me when I'm trying to buy my first home. Well, that's the home I live already, but I get a class to know everything, the process when we are buying a house. And I think Betty remember a program, the name is CCS Match. That's the Contra Costa Match. They give you need to save some amount of the money, and that program match to you can make the down payment for your house. So, and I was in that program, and I was a client of SparkPoint, and that was nice, and that helped me a lot. So thank you for the great job that you are doing.
Oh, thank you, Estella. Megan, were you going to add something as well? Maybe a story about a coach?
Yeah, I was gonna call in one of our coaches who's not here today. Actually, her name is Ingrid, and she's been working tirelessly through the pandemic and even before that. But our financial coaches are such a force, I think, on our team, working with our clients, not just on building their budget and managing their bank products and, you know, laying out the steps from where a client is to what their goal is and everything, whatever. But they're also experts in what resources are in the community. And they're always keeping up to date with where somebody can go for food to supplement some income so that they can make their budget work, or where to go to get medical assistance that will cost less or is free. And just having those opportunities to work within their budget and then find resources in the community. Ingrid is really, really great at that, and listening through what a client is saying to hear what they need, even if they don't register it as a need, and then making those connections. It's really beautiful to see that work. And Ingrid is also, she's a very artsy person. So going into the office lately, you know, we've been away from the office for over a year. And then when you're walking in now, just trying to get things set up and, you know, practicing with your social distance and like directional arrows and things to walk in the office a certain way. And you walk in and the things that are frozen in time is what I like to call it from back when. Ingrid's paintings are still on the wall. So she like cares enough to put not just her energy into the clients and knowing the community, but also making the space more uplifting, a little more personable, a little more homey. Because we are talking about finances and they are kind of rigid and feeling, and we're talking about credit and people putting a number to your life choices, right? Grading your life choices. And it's all very formal and very tough. And she brings that like softness to it, and coaching aspect, friend aspect, partnership aspect. And I just appreciate that about her. And I wanted to do space while she's meeting with a client right now.
Yeah. Thank you, Megan and Regina, for actually calling in and saying the names of the coaches on the front line doing the work. So Estella and Tiffany and Jerry talked a little bit about personal stories. And so I'm just curious if there's anyone else, any other SparkPoint advocate champion person here who also would say, you know, my personal story is just like the folks that we work with, and who's willing to share about how your story mirrors the story of the folks that you're supporting every day.
Well, good afternoon. Let me stop and say, I'm blessed to be here with you today. SparkPoint is here to serve the community. Our clients come to us from all walks of life. Not only are they looking for financial support, but information on the situation that they might be in at the moment. We have support through all our partners in legal, health, taxes, rent relief, first-time homeowners. Even though last year has been challenging for SparkPoint, we are connecting with our clients from in-person to virtual. I've been associated with SparkPoint since 2011 through the partnership of Leche at that time. It gives me a great opportunity to serve our community, to relate the information to them. When you get a sigh of relief from a client, it makes your day, regardless of what they might be going through. SparkPoint is here to support them. I am blessed to be a part of this organization. Most recently, a gentleman phoned in. He was in habit. Him and his wife is on a fixed income. He dropped, a summons was dropped on him, and they did not know which way to go, what to do, how to maneuver. So after I listened to his information, I gave him an appointment, a one-on-one with the manager. Then I also set up an appointment with him through Bay Legal. And after he went through that, he gave me a call, and he had a sigh of relief because they had been in this apartment for 20 plus years. And now that we're coming out of this, people is coming to try to do collections and things. And he didn't know his rights. So after, he's a client of ours now. So after that, he went through all this, it's a relief to help somebody to just kind of, to relieve that pressure, because life throws us curves and we can't faint, and you have to stop and take a breath, because you can't faint in the midst of a panic because you don't know what to do. So the clients are reaching out to us. We are trying to support them. And that's a good story to me. It made me feel good because of him and his wife.
Wow. Wow. So Regina, thank you so much. Regina said, woo! And what I want to say is that those of us that are listening to your stories, we can really feel what we're not just hearing you, but we can feel the emotion and really the love that you are sharing with us. So I just want to let you know that we are feeling you, and we are receiving all of this. I'm going to pause here and see if there's anyone in the room who has a question for one of our SparkPoint folks. Or even just a reflection.
So I'd like to ask a question to the SparkPoint team. What is the secret sauce that makes SparkPoint as successful as it has? Because the Contra Costa SparkPoint locations have always been the top SparkPoint providers in the Bay Area year after year. So what is it that builds that success?
I can jump in here. We have to give kudos to our director. She's been there since the beginning. She works hard to try to keep all the organizations together. People that work with SparkPoint has been through similar situations. We know about our clients. We've walked the walk with them, and the people that work, they care for our community, and they care for other people. Even though our people change in the office, the next group that comes in, it still becomes a one team. Mr. Becker, I've been knowing him for a while. He's been there in the trenches with us, and we have expanded, and it's just an excitement that we're still here. But that let us know that we are needed in the community. And you know, we always have to give kudos to all our founders and funders and everybody. So I'm just glad to be still here.
Thank you, Regina. I would also like to add on a bit to James' question. And my answer is the fact that although we work in different cities, we have 4 offices, we are part of this community. I first started working in the office of Richmond, and I live in the city of Richmond. And the fact that we work here for the people that we know, our community, our people, helps us a lot understand the situation, where they're coming from. So the fact that we cannot just relate with them, we understand where they're coming from. We live, they're our neighbors. They could be down the street from us. And just the fact that once they do come to the door or hear us speak via phone or via Zoom, they see a face that's familiar to them, someone that they can trust and believe in, not just having to come into an office and not knowing people's background, but being able to come in and see a face that, oh, he's my skin color. Oh, she understands me. So maybe I could open up to this individual and open up to them and how they feel. And maybe we could build a connection from there. And understanding that although we have the same skin color, we dress a bit different, but we all come from the same background. We all have different challenges that we have to face. And we all become successful in different ways. It's like a highway, freeway. There's never a perfect way to get from point A to point Z. So I was just trying to put in my input. But good question.
I can add a bit to that. I love that question, Jim's secret sauce. I'm actually fairly new to SparkPoint myself as a site manager. I was also a client prior to becoming a site manager for a number of years. And going into my 5th month of site manager, I'm learning that secret sauce. I still don't know maybe it'll be a secret forever, but I think what Betty put in the chat and what Jerry mentioned is definitely part of it. Most of us either live in the communities that we serve, have been a client, are currently a client, and we have the experiences that a lot of our clients come in with, the questions that they have, and knowing those challenges, or kind of already knowing the question that they might be a bit afraid to ask, and being able to communicate with them and form bonds and partnerships and relationships is definitely part of why SparkPoint is still here. I wouldn't call it a secret, but maybe it's just a bit unknown of so much we can tackle with one intake call, one coaching appointment, and then of course multiple coaching appointments. Tiffany has been with us for 9 years. Amazing. I was a client for a number of years and now a site manager for 5 months, but it's definitely rewarding, challenging, and hopefully no longer a full secret, just a part secret.
Yeah.
I think Regina is a secret weapon. But so the Richmond office is my office anyway. I've been coming there for years. So that's where I started. I think the fact that we all have been through something is the major connecting point to people. And we just like them, we talk like them, we relate like them, we emote like them. So it's really easy for people to tell us their stories. And Regina could probably tell you some stories that she's heard. And it's because of her demeanor too. You got to be a kind of person that's welcoming folks, no matter how they look, what the story is, or even how they come at you. Because sometimes they can come at you in a way, but it's just a way of how you handle folks. And it's all, I think, the underlining thing is respect. I respect you no matter what your situation is. And I'm going to give you that respect, and we're going to work things out together. People want to be with people. They want to be connected. If they feel like that, they have a connection point. You got a friend for life. You got a client for life. You'll have a program for life if you continue to connect. And SparkPoint RCF, we are a connector of people, and that's what we do. We connect people to what they need, and hopefully it'll be lifelong.
I want to just make a note and welcome Assemblymember Wick's Chief of Staff into the room this afternoon. I think the name is Leche. Please correct me if I got that wrong. And I just wanted to just open up the space and see if you've got any reflections on what you've heard so far today in the time that you've joined us.
Thank you, Kelly. I'm actually the senior district field rep, and you did a great job pronouncing the name is Uche. So it was great to join you guys. Came in late, was coming from a different meeting. not really sure what was being asked, but I'm hearing a lot of stuff related to Richmond and being part of the community. So if you don't mind giving me a little synopsis of what you wanted me to address for a few seconds, I can do that.
Yeah, thank you so much, Uche. Really, what's important, I think, is just that we acknowledge that you're here and that we welcome you into the space, and continue listening to what is being shared here about SparkPoint Contra Costa County and the great work that folks are doing, not just for the community, but of the community and from the community.
Absolutely, I appreciate you guys. Let me just say this real quick. I appreciate what SparkPoint has been doing for our community for many years, and obviously the Richmond Community Foundation with Jim and Miss Mays. So the work you guys are doing amazing. So continue to be a partner. So I look forward to supporting whichever way our office can. So thanks.
Thank you. I want to open up a little bit further and ask Mojda to talk about, as a board member, what is it like for you to be in relationship in this way with staff and programming at RCF?
Thank you, Kelly. You know, it's interesting, my path and connection to RCF Connects. So, you know, I first met Jim and Betty and team when I was at Contra Costa College back in, I think, 2015. And, you know, they came forward and they said, you know, we've got this really terrific idea. We have this amazing program called SparkPoint. And I remember you'd actually come in with some of the Betty.
United Way Bay Area.
United Way Bay Area. Yes, yes, yes. So just like this incredible group sitting together with us around a table, talking about ways in which they can support our students. And, you know, Kelly, it's really rare that someone kind of knocks on the door and says, we want to help you, right? I mean, it's often, you know, folks come in and they say, oh, you know, here's a few things that you can do for us. It's very rare that you get a whole team of folks that are there because they are genuinely focused on helping and supporting the needs of the community. And I think that's exactly what RCF Connect does. And I think that's exactly what SparkPoint does. They have and you've heard it from all the staff right here, right? There's a genuine caring for the community. And they go above and beyond in order to support that community. And I love the connection they made for us. Like when they said, you know, we want SparkPoint to come to the college, they said, we understand you're an educational institution. And you know what? There's an arm of us that promotes and provides educational opportunities and makes folks sustainable from a financial perspective. You need that, and without a doubt. And you know, you talk about why SparkPoint Contra Costa is so effective, because this is what they do. They make the right connections, and they genuinely bring the resources to the community. So I am super proud to be a board member with RCF Connects. You know, when Jim came to my office and said, Mojda, you know, what do you think about this? And I'm like, I mean, I was just, how do I say this? It was like, thank you for thinking of me. And yes, I want to be that connector. So, you know, I'm all in. Lovely, wonderful to be here. And Uche, it is amazing to see you, my friend.
Betty, this is a question for you. What brings you joy about this work, and what keeps you up at night?
It's just a fantastic team of folks that you've all been hearing about. Excuse me, that you know, bring me great joy and working with the clients. There have been, you know, a lot of people I've talked to over the years. One client I can think of who's been with us probably nearly the whole 10 years, that we've watched him grow up and become, a young man now, an ambassador for SparkPoint with United Way, and seeing that kind of progress. Lots of staff come and go, but, the impact that they all make. Matt, who was one of our first credit coaches that worked with Tiffany and other folks, Katrina, that Regina was talking about, has been with us on and off the entire 10 years. The different staff. Megan was at the Richmond office, then at Contra Costa. Jerry was at the Richmond office, now at DVC. And so just keeping people on board. Stephanie's on the call too, who was our site coordinator when we were had an office at Dover Elementary School. So the joy comes from all of the staff that I'm working with and with all of the clients that we've been able to help over the years. So we serve, over 600 people a year. We are the largest SparkPoint center in the Bay Area. And so we are impacting a lot of lives. And this, despite the pandemic, we've been able to help 86% of our clients show an improvement in their debt, income, savings, or credit. And I just think that's amazing that we're doing that despite doing that remotely and despite there being a pandemic out there that we have no control over. And, keeping me up at night is, the things that keep us all up at night, things out external to SparkPoint, but things too, and just making sure that things are going okay. I have a proposal due tomorrow. I have another one due next week, those kinds of things.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Betty. I also just want to take a moment to acknowledge and welcome Mr. Will Hobbs, Vice President, Community Bank of the Bay. And also just to see if you'd like to share any reflections on what you're hearing this afternoon about SparkPoint Contra Costa. Looks like you're muted, Mr. Hobbs.
I sure was. Sorry about that. I was saying that I'd first like to thank you and Jim Becker for the opportunity to learn about SparkPoint through this meeting today. I'm a newcomer, so it's my first opportunity to hear about the organization and its community service mission, which I think is very laudable. And it's interesting also to know that there's a legacy there that goes back many years. And I think that's very positive and commend you for the work that you're doing. Community Bank of the Bay, as you may know, is California's first bank CDFI when it was established back in 1996. And part of our mission is servicing small and medium-sized underserved businesses from groups that are historically underrepresented in the financial community, as well as nonprofits and faith-based organizations. So we're very much in alignment with the work that you're doing. Welcome the opportunity to observe today and learn more about your work in the future.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just want to point out a couple of chats here. Largest SparkPoint in the Bay Area, averaging 600 clients per year, still served 80% of clients even during the crisis, during the pandemic, and Betty pointed out 86%. Also helped 560 folks file their taxes through the VITA program. So I have one more question, and as many folks as possible on the team, on the SparkPoint team, to answer this question, we'd like to get your very quick and brief comments here so we can wrap up and send it back over to Melissa. So complete this sentence. Financial education opens up SparkPoint clients' lives to a world of what? Financial education opens SparkPoint's clients' lives to a world of what?
I can
More
make
opportunity.
Opportunity.
Keep going. What else?
Kelly, financial education opens SparkPoint's clients to equity and full potential.
Yeah. What else? Anything else?
It gives them education to pass on to another generation
Generational
as they
wealth.
go through the process.
Mm-hmm. Call it out. Anything else? Just
I
call it
say
out.
creating a legacy. That's, you know, there are many legacies, but you definitely need some financial stability for your family going forward.
Mm-hmm.
I
Jerry says
added,
peace of mind. Thank you, Jerry. Opportunities, Betty chatted. Anything else that you want to call out? Opens SparkPoint's clients' lives to
Lifelong partnerships. Once you're a client, you're always a client.
hope. Betty also added hope. Yeah. Anything else before we close and send it back to Melissa? So I want to thank the team and also thank those board members, including Dr. Cynthia LeBlanc, Moja also, and our visitors, and also Bill Lindsay, and our visitors this afternoon, our staff from RCF and other friends. I want to say thank you so much for joining and for listening to this amazing story of community involvement. Also, Mitzi is here from the board, community involvement, and actually not only serving the community, but serving through community. So thank you all so very much for being here and listening to this great story of hope. And thank you so much for SparkPoint and the team members for just giving us so much energy and positivity and sharing about the love that you do in your work. It's a pleasure for me to be able to hear these stories and connect with each one of you. Melissa, go ahead and toss it back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Kelly. Thank you, SparkPoint team, everyone, board, audience. Thank you for your time and your hearts and your ears and your vulnerability and the courage to share real things. So we'll follow up with you. We hope to see you at our next and final Café con Leche series, which will be on June 4th. So thank you all so much for your time and have a nice day.
Let's stay safe. I'm out.